There are a few sights more satisfying than a beautiful garden. But what do you do if your outdoor space isn't quite so picture perfect and you're short on time? Well, meet the instant gardener.
Ta-da!
Danny Clarke is an expert at transforming gardens.
Here's my plan. I'm going to rejuvenate this garden.
Each time our gardening guru will show you how to create gorgeous garden makeovers.
That's the art of garden design, delegation.
Each transformation will be packed with brilliant ideas and tips.
It makes it easier to cut through.
To help you get to grips with your own outdoor space.
It does feel unnatural, but take your time.
With his magical ideas.
These flowers will look like they're floating in amongst the grasses.
And advice on spending wisely on a budget. That's why Danny makes me bring a list.
OK.
Oh, my word. This is amazing. And because he's the instant gardener, everything you see will happen in just one day.
Oh, my gosh. That looks so much better.
Today we're in one of the capital's most up-and-coming neighbourhoods, the lively South London district of Tooting. Busy markets, Victorian terraces and a beautiful common all add character to Tooting's bustling streets and vibrant atmosphere, inspired by its eclectic community. One such bohemian resident lives here on this street in Tooting Broadway. She's a social butterfly who'd love Danny to transform her neglected garden into the perfect spot for entertaining. Hello, Zoe.
Hi, Helen. How are you? Come in.
Nice to meet you.
And you too.
Zoe Hughes is a busy events manager who loves any excuse for a party, with her garden taking centre stage. But 4 years ago, she was diagnosed with an aggressive form of breast cancer, leading to traumatic treatments and major surgery. She's been physically unable to look after her garden herself ever since, relying on friends to help her out. As a result, she's called in the instant gardener. Zoe can no longer mow her own lawn, which is a problem because the garden is mostly turf. She's difficulty bending and stretching, and so these pots and plants positioned at low angles around the garden have become impossible for her to tend. There are areas at each end of the garden where people gather during her parties, but there's a large blank space in the middle which isn't being used. And there are lots of interesting bits and pieces dotted around that Zoe's collected, but at the moment they don't have any real purpose. There's a lot of potential here, and Danny's got a plan to create a low-maintenance outdoor space that's also perfect for parties.
Well, let's get cracking. We need to get this garden cleared now. So let's run through what we need to do.
Danny and his team never say no to extra help, which is handy because 2 of Zoe's friends have offered their services for the day. Wow, this is a good space. Guys, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, hello, Helen. How are you?
Hello, you look very busy there.
Well, meet my 2 little helpers. Well, one little helper and one big helper.
This is a great garden though, Zoe. What do you use it for?
Socialising, socialising, socialising.
And what do you want to change about it?
I just want to make it very low maintenance because I find it really hard to look after and I have to rely on other people to do it for me.
Well, that is exactly why we've got our helpers. They're going to do it all for us today. Who have we got here?
This is Sonia and this is Tony, both very, very good friends. So I trust them implicitly.
Misplaced. Seriously misplaced, yeah.
For you, Danny, is this a good canvas? Because it's a good little space, isn't it?
This is what we're going to try and do for you, Zoe. So be mindful that you are a party girl and you like to have a good time.
Yeah,
so you
I do
want
like
a place...
a party, a little glass of wine.
OK,
too.
so you like a space that you can enjoy with your mates,
Yeah,
basically.
very much entertaining, chilling, relaxing, but just very sociable space.
Yeah, well, we'll see what we can do for you.
What can we do to help? We're going to let you do the manual labour.
Thank you very much. Well, what you can do to help is perhaps get some herbs for us.
Yeah,
All right, then. That's my lead.
Okay.
And some edibles,
Yep,
strawberries,
a
that kind of thing.
drinkable.
Anything that you can put in a drink.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Thank
The
you.
list for the herbs and the edibles. And we'll carry on with this.
Don't work too hard.
We'll try not to. Enjoy.
Bye bye.
While Zoe and I head off in the name of research, Danny has about 10 hours to work his magic before she returns.
The idea is to put a raised bed here, a raised bed over there, and there, and then interlink them with a cooking area here and a seating area over there. The reason is she's a party animal, and it'd be a nice place for her to sit. One of the things with lawns is that they're quite high maintenance, so we're going to resolve that by taking the lawn up and putting an artificial one down. So I think we better get cracking and get on with the job. We need to clear the pots, so that pot, those pots, those pots, those.
Danny's plan for Zoe's garden will make it much easier for her to maintain it herself without taking away its potential as a great place for socialising. As always, the rest of the Instant Garden team, AJ and Lou, are on hand to assist with all the hard work. And Zoe's friends, Tony and Sonia, get thrown straight in at the deep end too. It's amazing what Zoe has stashed away, and it's clear that style-wise, she's really into the shabby chic look. Knowing this is going to come in very useful later on.
These are great tractor seats. We're definitely going to use them.
Are we?
So don't throw those away.
Okay, cool.
So we put those to one side.
Danny's got big plans for recycling and reusing some bits from Zoe's hoard of really cool bric-a-brac. There's the odd horticultural treasure as well.
It'd be a shame to lose this. It's such a beauty. It's an old passion flower. It's great to see the way it's dangling down like this.
Yeah.
You've got to keep it. Unfortunately, it's got tangled up with some of this log edging. So I'm just trying to perform a bit of microsurgery.
Right.
That's not the wire.
Oh, don't.
The blue one. The blue one, Danny. It's going to explode.
You never know, this might catch on one day. Thank you very much, Sonia. I'll be the bag man.
While Danny and the team get their hands dirty, I've got an appointment for Zoe, and it's just around the corner. I want her to be inspired by someone who not only really loves their garden, but who has already made the most of some of the ideas Danny's going to be adopting in Zoe's own outdoor space. Before we get started on the shopping list, I want you to have a look at this garden. It's relatively small,
Okay.
but it's got some really fun things in it. I think you're going to like it. This garden is the loving creation of architect Susan Venner, who lives here with her husband and 2 dogs. It's certainly a little haven of beauty with some really lovely quirky touches. Have a look at this little oasis.
Oh, it's so lovely.
I can see you in a place like this.
Oh my God, I can see myself in a place like this.
Fire pit, loads of different plants.
Beautiful. It's just amazing how much she's actually got in here. Oh look, the keys hanging off the tree.
Can you apply shabby chic to a garden? And if you can, is that something you'd like?
You can definitely apply shabby chic to a garden. I mean, look at this. Look at mine. I've got things that most people would have in their living room in my garden.
Yeah.
And it's just very much your individual style and what you like. But this is lovely because it's just got loads of character but in a very subtle way. I've just spied that. Is that a sink there?
Yes! Oh, an old trough or something.
Yeah. I just love all her little things everywhere. You can tell it's someone's little sanctuary.
But whilst we appreciate a beautifully finished garden, Danny's only just getting started on his transformation, and time is pressing on. One of the first jobs is tackling that turf.
You've got to get the lawn mowed. Right, lawn mowed. And Sonia, you're delegated to doing that.
Excellent.
But handyman AJ has a question.
If we are taking up the turf, why are you mowing it?
We do need to mow it because with short grass, we take the weight out of the turf.
Okay.
It makes it a lot easier to handle.
All right then.
All right, thanks, mate.
While Sonia mows the lawn to make it easier to take up the turf, Out front, there's been a delivery of wooden sleepers for those raised beds.
You know, little Dicky Bird tells me that you like working with wood.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tree surgeon for far too many years.
You're a tree surgeon. What a great job.
Sometimes it's hard in the winter.
It's hard in the winter?
Yeah. Snow, ice.
I couldn't do it in a million years.
It's character building.
Yeah, it might be character building, but not for my character, because because
I feel the cold.
Not because I feel the cold, because I suffer from vertigo. The plan is now we're going to use raised beds, and we're going to make the beds out of sleepers.
Okay.
And the idea is to put a bed in each corner. We're going to use whole-length sleepers, and we're going to use half-length sleepers to minimise the waste.
So that means, in theory, you've only got to cut them once.
Thank you very much. You're so helpful. I love it.
Whilst the boys bond over a railway sleeper, Zoe and I get the chance to chat with Susan about her gorgeous garden. Here's the lady of the garden.
Hello.
Hello, Susan.
Hi.
Thank you for having us in your lovely garden.
It's a pleasure. Lovely to meet you.
Hi, I'm Zoe. Hi, how are you? It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, you've come on a nice sunny day, which helps.
Susan, there's so much in here. Have you planted all of this?
Yes, actually. I've planted every single plant over the years. Everything has changed from when we moved in, yeah.
Let's move up here, because this is kind of the lawny bit of the garden. Up here, there's patio, a few seats. Is this where you relax, spend much time?
Yeah, this is actually where I spend most time sitting under the cherry tree. And it's quite quiet.
To be honest, until I got next to this, I thought this was full, from back there, this looks full size.
Well, that's actually, I'm glad you picked up on that. It is actually a bench that I had as a child, but I've put it there to pick up on the false perspective. So as it looks, you think it's a big bench, and it accentuates the vista from back there.
What about this? Where's that from?
Oh, well, this is a part of balustrading from a building in Wandsworth, which was the Victorian Patriotic Asylum, which was actually for kind of waifs and strays. Don't think it was a very nice place to be, but anyway, they had some very nice bollards, which, when it was being renovated, we salvaged.
It just looks, to me, interesting. It looks like it's supposed to be there.
I love that, but I'm a hoarder and I get accused of liking too much clutter. Help me, Zoe. What do I say when people say, oh, you like clutter, Helen?
But to me, that's not clutter. That's a piece of art which suits its environment, and it's part of the whole feel that you get when you walk into this garden, which has taken a long time to create. So, like Susan, I would have spent a long time positioning that just so.
The effortless look takes a lot of effort, doesn't it?
Yeah, afraid so. I think the key for me is putting bits that I like of hard landscaping or objet d'art in the garden in a subtle way, so that you're not kind of bowled over by them, but you gently absorb them as you're wandering around, and they fit.
But Susan, you've really successfully managed to merge these different areas.
Oh, well, I'm glad you think that, because that was what I was trying to achieve, for sure. And it's a kind of general progression from slightly more formal by the house to chaos down at the end.
I don't know about chaotic, but it's definitely productive. It looks like there's a lot going on. What are you growing?
Well, down here we've got a raised bed with is the herb garden, because I like having lots of herbs, fresh herbs in cooking, and it's a good place to put it. And beyond there, we've also got some beehives.
Do you like the idea of growing herbs? Because we were joking about mint for cocktails and things like that. Is that something you'd like to do?
I love the whole thought of growing fresh vegetables, herbs, because it's just got so much more flavour, I think. And the fact that it's grown in your garden is amazing, and it's cheap. Obviously it's free. But it's just, you've made it and you've grown it.
Is it easy to do?
Vegetables?
Herbs?
Oh yeah, very easy. You just have to be, if you want to grow mint though, you have to be careful. We need to put it in a pot so it doesn't spread all over your garden.
And then you can keep it closer to the bar.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cut it off in your drink. Perfect. Easy.
Susan's garden has been a really successful labour of love, which she's worked on over many years. It's packed with great ideas, some of which you might feel inspired to try in your own outdoor space. Don't be afraid of playing around with perspective. Susan's ingenious use of her child-sized bench is a great idea for making a garden seem longer than it actually is. Hunt down unusual pieces of salvage or objet d'art to give your garden a bit of character and history. And just like Susan, place them in positions where they can be discovered, rather than somewhere that dominates the space. It creates different areas in the garden that each has its own identity. Keep an eye out for the National Garden Scheme, which lists hundreds of private gardens, including Susan's, that are sometimes open to the public, so you can have a look around for yourself. One thing in this garden I really wanted Zoe to see was the raised herb and veggie bed, because raised beds will be a key feature of the instant garden Danny is creating for her. But before the beds can be built, these huge sleepers need to be sawn to size. Does Danny have any tips on the best technique?
Blimey, lads, you're working hard away.
Hello.
No, hang on a minute. Now, it looks like this guy's got the muscles, and this guy hasn't got the muscles, but he's doing this a lot quicker than you are. But I know why. You'll do it a lot more quickly if you use long actions. And that way you're going to cut through this sleeper in a much more economical way. In Tony's defence, you're chippy, he's a tree surgeon. Can you cut trees down?
Yeah, with the saw. There's 16 to cut. And can you let us get on with it, please?
I can, I most certainly can.
Back in the garden, it's time to start taking up the turf. Our turf cutter can't easily reach the edges of the lawn, so we need to take them up by hand.
We're going to get it by hand. You've cut the grass, which is one step. Now, the next stage is just use a spade to dig in to the turf. Dig a little square with the edge, and then just get down and put your elbow in front of your knee. Okay. Then what I'm doing here is using my body weight, rather than just using my arms to get the turf up. There you go.
It's like doing yoga, isn't it?
My elbow is in front of my thigh. That's it. Let's rock. Now, if we put a spade in your hand...
Oh, God, now it goes wrong.
Yeah, no, it won't.
It does.
Now do it. Right, look, if you put your elbow behind your thigh like this, it does feel unnatural, but take your time, don't worry. Hang on a minute, I've just noticed something.
Oh.
Now, viewers, never leave the spade this way round, because you can stand on the edge, not see it, stand on the edge and flip it up and it hit you straight in the face. So always keep your tools or the spade that way down if you're going to lay it on the ground, or even better still, put it up against the wall. Right, shall we carry on?
Shall we?
That was just my serious moment.
Very good. Safety first and all that.
I tell you what, Sonia.
Try and do it without the elbow in the knee.
Sonia, I've got a great idea.
Yeah.
Do it the way you did it before.
Yeah, I think I was.
Catch you later. Bye.
With the help of horticultural expert Lou, Sonia makes a great start on taking up the lawn edges by hand. But away from all that mess and racket, I want to take the opportunity to find out more about Zoe and exactly why she needs our help. Zoe, in 2011, a lot changed for you. Just talk us through that.
I was, in the summer of 2011, diagnosed with breast cancer. Typically me, like 8 tumours, grade 3, aggressive, advanced, 2 different types of cancers, which had also spread into all my lymph nodes. So quite severe at the time.
And what sort of treatment did you have to have?
I had 6 months of chemotherapy. I then had my first operation because I had a double mastectomy. I then had radiotherapy. I then had an operation, obviously, to give me my pert boobs, which was my silver lining at the end of the day.
Do you mind talking about it? You seem quite open about it.
No, I don't mind. Only because all of my friends were so interested, and because they just never experienced it before.
Yeah.
So I think I'm quite an open person anyway, and I don't mind.
The great news is you are in remission, but there are some long-term effects of all that treatment, aren't there? What are they?
I think I've got limited mobility, and with the mastectomy, and with the radiotherapy, I'm really stiff here still. So, like, my arm movements are not as fluid, or it's tight and it's always pulling. For gardening, for example, for me to mow the lawn is a chore and really difficult, and I just have to rely on other people to do it for me.
So if we can get a garden for you that is low maintenance, somewhere you can enjoy as much as you did before, how much of a benefit would that be?
Oh my God, it would be amazing. I think because I love socialising and I love having people round, for me to have a lovely space to do that again would very much give that back.
Fingers crossed we can do that for you. I trust Danny. After all she's been through, Zoe really deserves a stress-free garden. And by creating 4 raised beds, Danny's on his way to making that happen. First, he needs to mark out exactly where they're going to be.
Sonia, as you know, because Zoe's got restricted movement, the idea build a garden where she didn't have to bend or stretch.
Yes.
What we're going to do is we're going to mark out where we can put the raised beds.
Okay.
Okay. And what I've done, I've cut this piece of timber which I found outside to the length of a bed.
Right.
All right, so basically it's going to be the length of a raised bed sleeper.
Okay.
And I've marked out the width with a little arrow going in the right direction. If you could pass me the marker paint.
Okay, there we are. Quite an important job.
Go back to you. So that's the length.
Right.
Now we're going to go for the width, which we've already marked out.
Right.
Just run that down like this. And just paint a line. And there we have the approximate dimensions of our bed.
Okay. Is that the inside or the outside of the sleeper where the line is?
That's the inside of the sleeper.
That's going to be the inside.
That's the
okay.
inside.
So, you won't
So
see
we
that
get
then,
an
obviously.
idea of how wide the beds are and how it works in conjunction with the rest of the garden. So we'll be sitting like that. Would you like to do the next one?
There we are.
Do you know what seats we're going to use?
No.
Oh, let me show you them. It's really
Ooh,
interesting.
Okay.
Tucked away behind here are 3 tractor seats. Look at these beauties. Aren't they lovely?
Nice. Yeah, very good.
Do you want to take one?
She had these already, yes?
She already had these.
Right, okay.
Zoe's obviously found these in a junkyard or a second-hand shop somewhere. I mean, she's obviously a lady of good taste, got a great eye. She likes her shabby chic stuff, doesn't she?
She does, yes.
And retro stuff.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, we're going to attach them to some sleepers to make a bench.
Okay.
So it'll be a great place to sit with her friends.
Yeah,
It'll be
look good.
fantastic. I think they look absolutely great.
Brilliant.
Hello, boys.
We've now only got 7 hours left before we present Zoe with her brand new garden. It's high time to start getting those raised beds built. Bring on the sleepers.
Right then, shall we get the other ends in?
Yes, please.
Okay.
As you can see, AJ started digging some holes, and the idea is to put 4 of these posts set in quick drying cement, and then we're going to pin those sleepers to these posts.
Okay.
I need you, easy peasy. I need you to go to a depth of about 10 inches.
Okay.
Right, so if you get on and do that one, I'll do the one over there. How's that? Brilliant.
All right.
There you go.
Cheers.
Whilst Danny gets on with the hard labour, Zoe and I are making a trip to her local garden centre. We green-fingered Brits spend around $5 billion a year on garden plants and products, so it's important that this money is spent wisely. Which is why we've come armed with Danny's shopping list and strict instructions to stick to it. No impulse buying. Excuse me, can we borrow your expertise,
Of course.
please?
Yep. We are looking for rosemary,
Yeah,
mint,
yeah,
strawberry,
yeah,
bay, so I presume that's bay leaves, lemon balm,
yeah.
pelargonium.
Very good, yeah.
We don't know what that is. Possibly in soft colours, maybe pink.
Right, have a look. Right, these are your pelargoniums. Everyone
Okay.
calls them geraniums, actually, but the proper name, and I can't believe you came out with the proper name.
Top of
I'm
the
really
class,
pleased.
It's on the list, that's why.
Top of the class.
Right, so these are pelargoniums, but we do have others.
That's a nice colour.
Yeah, I like that colour. If I was choosing it personally for me, I'd go reds.
Okay, stick
In
to
fact,
reds.
that's perfect.
Do you recognise that better?
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, now that's a normal geranium, isn't it?
Yeah, pelargonium.
Okay. Is either one hardier than the other?
No, both the same. None of them will go through the winter. They may do if it's a very mild winter, has been known, especially in a porch or something, but usually the frost will kill them.
Because I just leave mine outside and then they die and I
Yeah,
replace
well,
them.
most people do.
I knew you were thinking I'm not doing that.
Yeah, most people do that, but you could easily take cuttings. They're very easy to do.
Where's the best place to cut them if you are going to take cuttings?
Right, well,
Which, of
if
course,
you
I
leave
will.
these to grow a little bit longer, and by the end of the year they'll be a lot bigger than this, you just need to cut anywhere down the stem, take off any flowers that are there, and you need to cut it just below a leaf joint, because that's a growing point. Take off the bottom lower leaves, leave it to dry at least for 24 hours. So, and then plant them up, pot them up, bring them indoors over winter, and then next year you've got 4 or 5 plants ready to plant out again.
Remember, it doesn't matter if you're not an expert, because many people with gardening knowledge just love to share it. So it's always worth asking experienced gardeners like Dee for useful tips and advice.
Always plant in odd numbers.
Why?
Because it just looks more natural. 2 is just a bit contrived, 4 is a bit contrived. You can't make them 3 in a triangle, in a group, looks nice. Looks more natural.
I would have always done, like, the even numbers.
No, do it in a group of odd numbers. Or dot them around, then that doesn't matter so much.
Yeah.
If you had 4 and you put 1 over there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there.
That's the pelargoniums ticked off the list. But back at the garden, time is ticking away. Danny is now halfway through his makeover time, and those raised beds still aren't finished. Chop chop, Danny!
OK, Jay, so what's the plan? You know, can you just talk it through with me, mate?
Well, obviously got the holes dug now.
Yeah.
What we need to do is put the posts in there. We'll offer up all the sleepers to the posts so they're nice and square on the flat edges.
OK.
In 90 degrees, you know, horizontal and vertical. We'll get them screwed together. Then we've got a little bit of a play in the side of the holes we've got here.
Yeah.
And we'll get them into exactly where you want to then pour the holes with concrete to fasten them to the ground.
Oh, that
a bit
sounds
like tent pegs,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then they'll be sorted.
Yeah.
Danny's beautifully cut sleepers are placed carefully in position. Handyman AJ then screws them to the supporting posts. A second layer of sleeper is then placed on top to add height, and this is repeated for 3 more beds. Next job, the cement.
Right, guys, got the post mix here.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Well, we've got those in.
Yep.
Stakes are in. It's all screwed, solid. Just need to open these up, put a little bit of water in the hole first, fill it, and then put water on top, just so it soaks from top and bottom. Then, in theory, 20 minutes, half an hour, that's rock solid.
It's rock solid.
Start filling it. You going to go for it? You that one, you that one.
Brilliant.
OK.
See you soon.
Finally, all the sleepers are in place. Whilst the cement sets, there's one crucial job left to do to protect all that lovely wood.
OK, Sonia, let's step into the raised bed.
Yes,
And this
okay.
is another very important job. And this is fabric liner that we're using. This membrane's important because we want to create a barrier between the soil and the wood. Because if the soil is touching the wood, it's likely to rot.
Right, OK, gotcha.
We don't want this liner near the top. I reckon if we do it about 1.5 inches from the top,
OK.
and I've got this staple gun, which I'm
Okay.
going to use, which I've never used before, incidentally.
Ooh,
so here we
good
go,
luck then.
boys and their toys and all that.
Go for it.
So here we go. Let's see if it works. Wish me luck.
I will.
It
It
works.
works, good. It's quite impressive, isn't it?
It's very impressive. I might buy you one for Christmas.
Well, you should. I'd love one.
Whilst the team put the finishing touches to the raised beds, Zoe and I are still working our way down Danny's list at the garden centre. Store advisor Dee is leading us on a hunt for herbs.
Here we are. Mint. We wanted
Okay,
common
yep,
all garden mint. There are lots and lots of different varieties of mint.
Can we ask a question then? And seriously, what is the best mint that you can have for a cocktail?
Pimm's is fruity, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you could try, like, apple mint.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Apple mint.
Are these herbs easy to grow?
Yeah, they're very easy to grow. In the sun, in a free draining soil, no problem.
I've never grown herbs ever in my life. Do they grow back year on year?
Yeah,
Okay.
they do.
Oh, I'm really excited. I can't wait to get my herbs in.
Good.
Just one more item left to find, and Dee is still coming out with fantastic tips.
Strawberries. You know what I do? When I go to the supermarket and I buy a strawberry that I really like, I have a look, see what variety it is. And then I think, right, I'm going to get that one.
Sweetheart, they're quite good as well, aren't they?
I don't know Sweetheart. I know El Santa and
Yeah,
Cambridge
and they're
Favourite.
small and pretty.
Cambridge are good.
That's an old favourite.
That's a classic, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You know that one, do you?
Oh, I've grown a few Cambridge in my
Have you?
time.
Strawberries.
Now, is it nice tasting?
Yeah, really good.
Oh, well, there you are. I'll get that then.
Excellent, excellent.
OK. Nice to have met you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime.
With everything on Danny's shopping list ticked off, it's time for Zoe to have a sit down and a cuppa. There's less than 2 hours to go before we present her with her new garden, so I head back to the house to lend a hand and see how far the team have got. Oh my word!
Hello, Helen.
Hello, hey Lou. This looks amazing. You have done so much.
We've put these 4 beds in because Zoe has limited movement, so at least she doesn't have to bend to do any maintenance or anything. She can sit on the ends with her friends and enjoy it.
And what's the plan for the rest of it?
We're going to put some artificial turf down. That's why the
Okay.
grass is up. So that's going to be a busy task.
Well, we have brought some herbs. You got look
Okay.
at apple mint.
Apple mint, brilliant. That's fantastic. Some strawberries.
Yep. I just think these are going to offer a lot. They're a good little talking point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're easy to look after, aren't they?
They're absolutely easy to look after. They'll grow anywhere.
Brill, okay.
Rosemary, brilliant. So I've got just a job for you, Helen.
Yup.
Okay, we're going to plant these herbs in these gorgeous pots.
So
Which
these
we-
are all pots that she already owns?
These are pots that she's already owned and we discovered them.
Ah, so we're recycling.
We are recycling, which is great.
I love
So-
that.
What we need to do is put a crock in the bottom. And the reason we do that
Put a
is
what in the bottom?
a crock.
What's a crock?
It's, a crock can be a piece of a broken pot.
Okay.
Or even a stone.
Right.
And the reason we do that is to allow drainage.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, so when you water it, you don't want it to get waterlogged, so it just allows the water to seep through.
Top tips from Danny. So a bit of broken pots.
And compost. Just plant 1 per pot, and that'll do the job.
Well, the mint can go in that. I know she's going to love these because she likes the kind of
Yep,
random, quirky, shabby chicness of it all.
absolutely.
This is fab. Can we use this?
You can use that, yeah, absolutely. That looks like a part of a chimney cowl.
Brill.
So
okay.
that'd be good. So that can go in, well, let's put that in there. And perhaps this one can go, the mint can go in that one.
Where
shall we
is the
say?
best place to grow strawberries? Hanging basket in the ground?
I
pot?
tell you what, a hanging basket would be great.
Okay.
These do spread, so I would tend to keep them contained.
This, for me, is like a treasure chest because
Yeah.
there are loads of different pots.
Yeah.
That, for you, is an unfinished canvas.
It is.
So at the risk of wanting to sound bossy, I'll let you get back to that
You
and
can
I'll
be
go
bossy
for a
because
rummage.
I really want to get that finished.
We're not the only busy bees. Lou, Danny's planting sidekick, and helpers Tony and Sonia are getting stuck in too. One handy planting tip is that it's always a good idea to position plants while still in their pots, before you put them in the ground. That way you can check you're happy without getting your hands dirty. And Handyman AJ is doing a great job creating benches that sit between the raised beds.
Now for the piece de resistance, the planting. This is where I get really excited. Now look at this lovely standard bay. A standard is a plant on a single stem. Now I'm going to use this to move your eye around the garden. These are going to be punctuation marks. So there's going to be 1 in each of these raised beds. And to complement them, I'm going to underplant with these lovely plants here. Got Festuca glauca. What a lovely grass. It's blue. Blue fescue is the other name for it. Just leave it in the winter with the seed heads on, then cut it back in the spring. It will be absolutely perfect. We've got some lavender, and to add a bit of colour, look at these wallflowers, these ericiums. They're going to look absolutely fantastic. Convolvulus, what a lovely plant. Look at this silver grey leaf. This silver grey leaf will shimmer in the morning sun and the evening sun. And look at those bell-shaped flowers. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, this is a member of the bindweed family, but don't hold that against it. Leave it alone and it'll spread.
While they crack on and finish the garden, because it looks brilliant, but there is quite a bit to do, I'm going to have a rummage back here. This is a hoarder's dream. I've just spied these keys, which Zoe mentioned earlier, and she loved those in Susan's garden, so I'm going to make sure that they go somewhere prominent. Pop them down there. There's a really cool blue pot back here that I love. Yes! That is what I wanted. Look at that. Beautiful. Danny, can I borrow you, please?
Blimey,
Straddling too many plant pots.
Oh, that's heavy as well. You okay?
It's good, that, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely fine.
It's better than fine.
Just-
It's good.
Do you want it then? You want to take it
I want
home?
the, oh, no, I want the plant pot in there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yes. Look at this. I mean, that is so random. It's brilliant. I know that Zoe loves odd, random pots and things like that, so I think she's going to enjoy the fact that this is being used. And these strawberries will trail over the edge, giving that nice sort of natural, organic thing, even though we've put them here strategically. Planting strawberries is very simple. Add Danny's crocks for drainage, some compost, and then in goes the plant. It's as easy as that. AJ's not only finished his benches, he's also topped them off with the tractor seats Danny found earlier.
I'm sorry.
Drive me tractor. That'd be all right with the pins, wouldn't it? Come and sit with me. Come and join me. Come and join me. Careful, it's not down yet. Get in there, that's it.
Oh, they're quite comfy, aren't they?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone brings us drinks.
If we here just have a can of beer and we'll be sorted.
No one
won't
seems
we?
to be taking the hint, do they?
No. Rubbish lot.
Oh, I suppose we better get back to it.
Yes, we probably should, yes.
Yes, they should. We've less than an hour left and the garden isn't nearly ready. Love lavenders. Danny, what is the key to keeping a lavender alive? Because I cannot keep them alive.
Keep them alive?
Yeah.
Maybe position. You've got them in the wrong position.
They
Yeah,
need a lot of sun?
they need a lot of sun, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's probably it. And also, give them a fairly hard cut back once a year. But, you know, there comes a time when they get leggy anyway, and you've just got to, after about 5 years, 6 years or whatever, and it's time just to start again and buy new young ones. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cut them
good.
right back, keep them in the sunshine.
Yeah, they definitely like sun, but they will grow in any old soil.
They look great.
We just need testing, actually.
No,
a little bit of weight or something.
I don't know if my bum will fit in there at the minute. Oh, excellent. Takes me back to the Massey Ferguson days.
You want to try this one?
No, you're all right. AJ's certainly pleased with his tractor seats, but with Zoe's arrival looming ever closer, there's one vital job still to finish: the artificial lawn. Once the turf has been removed, the next step is to use this machine, known as a whacker plate, to compact the earth. You can hire one yourself for around £25 to £30 a day, or get a local handyman in to do it for you. Then we spread 50 ml of sharp sand, rake it as level as we can, and then give it the same whacking treatment to create a firm surface. It all depends how big your lawn area is, but as you can see, experienced handyman AJ is able to do this pretty quickly. Next, we roll out the fake turf, which has arrived all neatly wrapped up and ready to lay. A perfect lawn with no need for a lawnmower. Meanwhile, we all get shooed off to grab a cuppa and get out of AJ's way.
We'll get this rolled out and then we'll cut it to size properly once it's rolled out so we can get the actual perfect contours of the sleepers.
Artificial turf usually comes in 2 and 4 metre widths. Danny has cleverly designed this garden specifically so that the gap between the pairs of raised beds is exactly 2 metres wide to make this final bit as easy and economical as possible. AJ just has to cut the fake turf to length at either end and then fix it into place with these special pins. Zoe has struggled to mow her lawn in the past because of the physical effects of her illness, but now the pressure of having to ask friends to help is history.
You know what? I'm not a great fan of artificial grass, but this isn't bad. I might even use this in another project.
And at last, the garden is finished. Before, the lawn area was an empty space that was just too difficult for Zoe to manage. Pots were in awkward to get at positions, and bric-a-brac was randomly distributed. Even the areas at either end of the garden earmarked for entertaining were run down and neglected. But in the space of a few hours, Danny has totally transformed it all. First of all, there's the artificial lawn. Now Zoe won't have to ask her friends to mow it for her. The 4 raised beds both provide seating for socialising and allow Zoe to tend her new plants more easily. Danny used natural pine sleepers to create these, readily available from any timber merchant. And to add a touch of Zoe's favourite shabby chic style, we've upcycled her old tractor seats. Visit salvage yards and junk shops to hunt out unusual features like these. And finally, there's Danny's planting. Herbs and edibles ready to be popped into a cocktail are grouped in pots. And the raised beds, packed with plants, are each topped off by those eye-catching standard bay trees. By turning a small and worn-out lawn into a smart, low-maintenance social oasis, Danny has been able to make a huge difference in one long, hard day. But the moment has finally come to discover just what Zoe thinks. Welcome to your new garden.
Oh my God. Wow. It's so different. It's beautiful.
AstroTurf, how do you feel about that?
I love it. But it's wonderful, thank you. I don't know what's wrong with me. Wow.
You wanted a low-maintenance entertaining space. There's lots of places for people to sit.
Oh, well, I just love that bench, how you've used that and put the barbecue there. Oh, it's fab. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry.
Sorry if I'm speechless.
I think you've all deserved a little sit down. Come and enjoy the tractor seats. Tony gets snuggled in.
Oh, sure.
So these are all the herbs that we got today. So you can add these to your cocktails. You've got somewhere to sit. Tony did emphasise the point you made. You're quite particular, so I'll let you place the keys.
Oh, wherever I want to place the keys. OK.
Danny, you should be really, really proud because I think that's a happy reaction, isn't it?
Oh, my God, yeah, these are happy tears. I never have to mow the lawn ever again. This is just, like, gorgeous. I love it. I just, like, love all the colours. If I was going to choose a colour, it would definitely be red, white and green, and that's kind of like I can see lots of all of them.
I think you've all done very well. I think you should all be very proud. And Zoe, I hope you enjoy your instant garden.
Oh, I know. Thank you so much.
That's right, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
So Danny has worked a minor miracle and transformed Zoe's garden into a stress-free social oasis in just one day. A place to party and relax in equal measure. Join us next time as we create another instant garden.